It's a straight, firm line, you know. It teaches us how to live and the path that we're supposed to walk. It rebukes us. So when we get off that path, like it goes, hey, like, and it's just like a good coach would or a good friend will, you know, hey, or even as a father, like you teach your kid, here's the things you do. And when they mess up, you rebuke them, but then you correct them and help them get back on that path. And then once they get back on that path, you train them how to stay on that path, which is exactly what the Bible does. It teaches us, it rebukes us, it corrects us, and it trains us. And so in my coaching and leadership development, that's just it. Like, I'll teach you the principles. I'm going to hold you accountable to that. So there's going to kind of like a rebuke if you're kind of, hey man, where are you at on this? What's going on? It's not my place to be your daddy, but or your parent in this, but it is my job to kind of, hey, hold you accountable to that, and then help you course correct, and then help train you. Hey man, so how do you stay on this path? What do we adjust so we stay on it? And that actually, I mean, it's funny. In March of 2020, I was sitting in my office. This was probably the second big pivotal moment for me in my coaching. I was sitting in my office and I read 2 Timothy 3:17. And it says, so that the men of God will be complete and fully equipped to do good work. And as soon as I wrote that verse down in my journal, I wrote down the question, and it wasn't because something that I was asking God. It was like, I wrote it down because I felt like he was asking me this. So what is a complete, fully equipped man of God? And I was like, you're supposed to give me that answer? Like, I don't know that answer. I'm trying to figure it out. But it was like this challenge, right? And as I dug in and prayed about it, and kept reading it over and over, like 6 months later, I read 16. Till then, I mean, it was 6 months before I read verse 16. And that's where verse 16 says, the Bible's good for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training, so that the men of God can be complete and fully equipped to do good work. And so that's how I coach. Teach, rebuke, correct, train, so that you can be, I mean, they're all so different. You know, for me, it's hard for me to think about what my greatest success is, because I may not even know the impact that I have on someone. And I kind of want to stay there, you know? There are stories of guys that I probably share more than others. And one of those stories is a story I shared earlier. I shared about a guy who joined my small group. And when he joined, he was not in great shape at all. Could barely run a quarter of a mile. We were running one day and he fell out. And, I mean, like, he turned white. I was honestly worried he was going to die. I was telling him, like, you're not dying on my watch, brother. Like, you're going to be okay. But this same guy, 3 months later, ran this 10-mile race through the mountains of North Carolina, and then came back the next semester and actually led that same group alongside me, encouraging other men. And he still tells that story, and I still tell that story because I'm just proud of him. And I mean, there's a lot more to his story than I've shared, or I think I have the right to share, from a lot of things that he has walked through as a husband and as a father. And I want to believe that, you know, maybe the time that we got to spend with each other, the 6 months, the 12 months we were together, like, it just kind of gave him the confidence to know that he has what it takes. That, yeah, this is going to suck, and I'm going to have to go through it, but I can. Not just because God created me, I have the strength. I can because God's on my side. I can because I have a brotherhood of men around me that are going to encourage me, challenge me, and hold my arms up when I can't hold them up. If that's something I even had, even the most smallest, even the least amount of influence in, then awesome. I have on my whiteboard 100 men for the kingdom. That will be an outcome of a successful year for me next year. 100 men impacted for the kingdom. And that doesn't mean that I witnessed to them and they learned about Jesus 100% from me. It just means that I was able to have an impact in their life in one way or another. And I believe that my faith will come out and get shared at some point. And I'll plant a small seed, but God gets to water it and make it grow. That's other than that, it's my sons. You know, I got 3 boys. And so looking at their lives and the success that they are having as young men, of living a life that they're passionate about, living a life that they're confident knowing that they have what it takes to do what they can, to do. I don't measure their success by, hey, how big their bank account is, how big fancy their jobs are. I really don't care. Like when my youngest son called me up and he's like, "Hey, my car broke down the other day," and I was like, "Hey, need some help with it?" He's like, "No, I already took it to the shop." I was like, "Well, you need any money to help pay for it?" He's like, "No, I got to take care of it." I was able to get it towed, and he was just like, he just handled it.